So welcome back to a brand new episode of Walkin and Talkin with Tim. So my guest today is Nick Pittman. So you may know him as NorEasterNick. That's how everybody else I know knows him. We got linked up with through Steve Harbaugh, right?
Yep.
And so Nick owns and runs NorCast TV, right?
That's correct.
And Nick is an independent forecaster.
Right.
So if you could just tell everybody who doesn't know you yet, because I know
Sure.
lots of people already know who you are, tell them what you do. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I was in broadcast television for many years, actually about a decade. And when Comcast purchased NBC, they shut us down because we were competing with Philadelphia and whatnot. So I was working with an independent TV station for a few years. After that didn't work out, the company shut down. I decided I'm going to go through the roster of customers that used to advertise with us. And I said, look, I'm going to offer a new independent, hyper-local weather forecasting service. Would you advertise on my platform? So the goal was to use my Facebook following. At the time, I think I had like 50,000 people.
Wow.
Now it's 100,000. So
Wow.
I'm very, very thankful for that. But to advertise local businesses' messages.
Right.
And they all said yes. And I am now in year 3 of the business. I've built an incredible website. And now I'm about to launch a 24/7 weather channel. So if you remember several years ago, there used to be a channel called Weather Scan 101.
Right.
I'm basically bringing that back. So that's my latest project.
Yeah, and a website, right? So that's going to be a big deal.
Yes, so Norcast.tv is where you can go, but there's a map that comes up where you can physically click on where you live,
Right.
and it will take you to the local conditions, all powered by the same kind of technology that the Philadelphia TV stations have. So I have everything that everybody else has, but in a production studio built in my house.
But people love you because they don't have to go to network TV
Right.
and wait. In 10 minutes, we're going to give you the fork. All that crap goes away.
Right.
And it's just kind of on demand, right?
Yeah, I find that people are getting away from traditional TV.
Yep.
Who wants to wait until 5 or 6 o'clock to get the forecast when it's on demand on your phone or on Facebook? And I try to be everywhere. So between Facebook, between my website and this weather channel coming up, I'm going to have you covered on literally every platform. So I'm going to be everywhere where you're going to be sick and tired of seeing me.
And to that point, you said while we were walking around, you said that when the storms came through last, that you were on the scene and you were probably one of the only people in South Jersey to really be like all over this thing, right?
Right. So we have the technology to be able to go in and see where the rotation is. I got compliments from the fire chief and police chief of Harrison Township.
Right.
They were very happy with. They know a lot of people's lives were saved because they were watching where this was. Now, people up in Philly, very intelligent meteorologists and whatnot, and I admire them. I'm friends with them. But they're not going to know that Dunkin' Donuts is on the corner of XYZ Street. So being local, having grown up here, knowing these communities, it's so easy to tell people, hey, yeah, this is going to be passing Walmart in 5 minutes. If you're in that area, you better get to shelter. So I pride myself in communicating effectively in a very quick manner, I guess.
And to couple onto that, you were also integral in raising money for the victims.
So yeah, I went down with the National Weather Service. We saw the incredible damage, and you see these images of like Kansas and Oklahoma and Tennessee, but you never think it's going to be right here in our backyard. So when we showed up on the scene, I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. I want to do something. So I decided, hey, I have this gigantic platform. Let's do a fundraiser. So a dine and donate event. We put it together in Mays Landing, and seeing the community come together was just so heartening.
It's amazing.
We raised
fills you up.
Right, it does. So we raised $10,000 in that event in 1 week, and we were able to partner with I think it was United Way, and they dispersed the funds and made sure it got to the right people.
That's amazing. And so the other thing we talked about was, well, we talked about lots of things, but one of the things we talked about was humble beginnings for you.
Yes.
So you grew up in Brigantine.
Brigantine, yep.
So as much as you grew up on the beach, this guy doesn't like the beach.
No.
Which is crazy, right? We're similar that way. We love to see the beach.
Right.
Love that water.
Breathe in the salt air.
Love watching the waves,
Yeah.
but sitting in that sand, not for me.
Not at
right? And it's not for you.
Not at all. But put the grass up to the ocean and I'll be totally fine. Why not?
So talk a little bit about your humble start.
So I was born at a young age, but people told me that I was like 80 when I was 5 years old. It's still the case. I was given away as a toddler. My grandmother raised me, single grandmother. She was diagnosed with Alzheimer's when I was 10. So I had to learn how to cook and clean and balance a checkbook and all that kind of stuff that, 10, 11, 12-year-olds shouldn't have to do.
Right.
And I actually kept it a secret. I didn't tell anybody what was going on because I was afraid that like the state was going to come in and take me away.
Right.
So we managed for a few years, and then it just got to the point where her condition deteriorated so much, she sold the house. I moved in with my parents in Hamilton, and these are people that really weren't in my life. To this day, I don't really talk to my mother a whole lot, trying to work on it, but I slept on the floor of my mother's room. I had to pay $100 a week in rent to live there, and if I didn't show up for dinner, if I was working,
you didn't eat.
I didn't eat. So my high school years were very difficult, but I am very thankful that I had a TV program in high school, a wonderful TV instructor. I was able to vent to and actually have somebody to talk to, and I decided to use all that negative energy as a fuel for success.
Yes, I love hearing that.
And I decided, I used to cover up what was going on in my life early on, but then I decided, hey, I have this platform. When I go into schools, I'm going to start telling people about my background because other people could be in that situation, and I want them to
benefit
know, I want them to know that, hey, you can make it out on the other side just fine, going through all these trials and tribulations. And it really comes down to life is going to throw you all kinds of stumbling blocks and obstacles. How you navigate around those obstacles will determine your ultimate level of success.
Perseverance, right?
Absolutely.
So you talked about working at Shop, right?
Yep.
And you talked about a specific mentor that kind of helped you with your trajectory. So
yes. Mr. Joseph. He was my English teacher and TV teacher as well. When I was 17, he comes to me and says, you should be on TV. I want you to put a demo reel together. And I'm like, Mr. Joseph, you're crazy. How can I get on TV?
But you can.
Right. So I sent the demo video out there, and I get a call the next week from NBC 40, which was the station in Atlantic City. And they said, hey, how would you like to come audition, interview for the weekend position we have available? So I went, I got the job, and I was there for 5 years. And until the day Comcast basically shut us down. And then I went to the next station, and the rest is history.
Those pesky networks, right?
I know. Tell me about it. Evil.
Well, here's the thing. We all know that, TV is headed to social media.
Right.
I mean, it's already there.
Absolutely.
So the fact of the matter is it's kind of split right now. I think TV is going to stick around. Network TV is not going to go away.
Right.
But a lot of what happens on network TV is now happening right here, just like we're doing right now.
And TV stations are going to have to adjust, honestly, to my model because it's not.
We're all on social media now.
It's not sustainable to continue on with the broadcasts, with just broadcast.
Yep.
You have to take advantage of the social media platforms and the ability to connect to people instantly because people my generation, I'll be 30 this year. I don't remember the last time I sat down and watched a newscast, and I'm in the business.
Right.
So imagine people younger than me. And as the older generations kind of, go on and retire and move out of the area, they're not going to be watching local news anymore. So,
are there any network broadcasters that are like, I really like this network broadcaster?
So, Adam Joseph, we've become friends over the years. He's been like a role model for me over the years.
Sure.
Really, really good guy. But I'm friends with most of them up in Philly. We all know each other, and it's a small weather world, I guess I could say.
I actually recently reached out to Adam to be on Walkin Talkin with Tim. So Adam, if you're listening,
I'll see what I can do.
So beyond that, we talked about things that you like to do. So you said, as far as your home passion stuff, like when you get home, you unwind, that kind of stuff, you're still kind of a workaholic. Your work is your hobby, but you got 2 dogs, and their names are, I'm going to get this right, Sky and Zeus.
Yes.
Hard to believe, isn't it, that his dogs' names are Sky and Zeus? I said, if Zeus is running in circles, is there a tornado coming? Is that how it works? I mean, is that how you figure it out? I mean,
they're both good dogs. I really do enjoy spending a lot of time with them. I have always been a workaholic my entire life, but recently, over the past 6 months, actually, I hired a weekend meteorologist, so I don't have to work 7 days a week anymore. I do Monday through Friday. So as my company expands, I'm going to be looking at hiring more people to kind of take the burden off as I look for different ways to expand the business. From franchising opportunities to building the Weather Channel coming our way.
And I don't want to leave out the fact that you're a train guy. You love trains.
Yes.
Because your uncle used to engineer a train, right?
He was 50 years in the business, probably retiring soon, although he's been saying that for 10 years. I mean, if the money is that good, why would you leave?
But you have a full model, you said.
So in one of my bedrooms upstairs, it's just dedicated. It's an exact replica of the Atlantic City station and then Hamilton. So it goes around. It's like an L shape. It took a lot of time. But I love it. I actually have to get back into that room and install electrical switches, and then it's done.
Right, and you also have some of your own personal passions coming up as far as giving back to the community. But for right now, you told me that the two of the things that you like the most are ASPCA, right?
Right.
And the other was Alzheimer's, because it's close to your heart. So talk a little bit about that.
Anything that is related to pets and animals, I am, I wear my heart on my sleeve when it comes to that.
I'm pretty sure you said I like animals more than people. I don't know.
Hey, animals don't pay the bills.
I do too. Listen, when I get home, my dog's never unhappy to see me, ever.
Exactly. Isn't that great? And then, of course, I mean, the Alzheimer's Association, they're great. I've done a lot of the Alzheimer's walks. I've done the speaking events. So that's something I want to get more involved in because, it is something that my grandmother suffered from. Seeing her deteriorate so quickly in just a couple years, really shows the kind of power that this disease has. And, I want to help as much as possible to one day have a cure for it.
Right. And the last thing is that you talked about the one thing you want to do the most, which is basically on my agenda as well, is helping other people, right? So the reason we do some of the things that we do, a lot of what we do, is because we want to help other people in any way we can, just get the word out, whatever it may be. So if you have advice to, like you said, perseverance is huge, right? So if you have other advice to the younger generations coming up, because it's hard, man.
Right. So look, I always tell people at the end of it all, I'm not going to be judged on how many times I was right or wrong. Hopefully I was right a lot, that's the goal here. But it's really how many people did I help? What did I do to get involved in the community and that kind of stuff? So for the younger generation, the best piece of advice I could possibly give them is surround yourself with good people that want to challenge you, people that want to push you, and get rid of any negativity. Anybody that has been telling you, no, you're not going to do that idea, it's stupid, cut them out of your life. You don't need that kind of stuff, all right? When you have positive outlooks, when you have this positive energy, you can manifest your own life, all right? You are the only person that can hold you back. You set the bar as to how far you're gonna go. And every now and then you might have to adjust the bar up a little bit. But nobody can come into your life and tell you that, no, you're not gonna be able to do that.
You can't do it.
Right.
You're in control.
You are.
Exactly right. So that's awesome stuff. I mean, that's really great advice. So if you're watching and you're listening, don't let anybody tell you you can't. Don't let them do it, right?
Absolutely.
All those no's are just a step to a yes.
Yes, absolutely.
That's all it is.
Exactly.
So if people want to get a hold of you or watch your show, how do they do that?
So I'm on Facebook as NorEasterNick, same thing on Twitter and Instagram. And if you're a business looking to advertise and get involved in my platforms, you can email me, nick@norcast.tv, NORCAST.tv.
Giddy up. Well, thank you so much for being on and telling your story.
Of course, thanks for having me.
It's a great story. And to everybody else, thanks for watching, thanks for following. Keep on moving, keep on walking, and we will see you next time on Walkin' and Talkin' with Tim.